listening to Proof Text, a Glossa House podcast by Dr. T. Michael W. Halcomb, Dr. Frederick J. Long, Dr. Mario Melendez, Dr. Jennifer Noonan, and J. M. Smith. Welcome and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Proof Text. I am Michael Halcomb, and in this episode, we're thinking about how we can build our vocabulary, and we're thinking about the Hebrew language in particular. So, on the docket today, we have the Hebrew word that is spelled Dalet Beit Resh. So Dalet Beit Resh, and that's Dabar or Davar, depending on whether a dagesh is present or not. So if you're watching along, I'm going to share on the screen using stepbible.org at first, and then we'll probably have a look at two-letter lookup. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my keyboard to Hebrew here and type it in Dalet Beit Resh, see what happens. All right, so you can see here we got Devar, and then Davar. You can see there's no dageshem in there, or no dagesh in the first one, no dagesh in the second one, so no dageshem. You can see forms that look similar, like dever, dover, that have to do with pestilence or pasture. We get this form down here, daberet, which means word as well. But let's go ahead. By the way, you can see with the verbal form, almost 1,200 times, with the nominal form almost 1,500 times, so this occurs a lot. Let's look at the nominal form. That's kind of all over the place. You'll see the plural form a lot, like here in Genesis 11:1, you get vadeverim. You get down here in Genesis 12:17, devar. Notice it doesn't have the dagesh in there, so it's getting a V sound. Right, so when that beit doesn't have the dagesh, it gets the V sound. So we got davar here in Genesis 18:25. You'll notice that the dalet does have a dagesh, so it's got a hard D sound. Let's go back and look again. Dalet beit resh, and we'll look at the verbal form now. We can see in Genesis 25 we got vayadever Alehim, al Noach, La'amor, right? So here we have this verbal form, and we see that the Dalet does not have a dagesh, but the Beit does. That could shift our pronunciation to a softer kind of D sound, so the Ber, something like that, depending on how emphatic you are about that. But when we look at Genesis 12:4, we notice that the Dalet and the Beit both have dageshim. So this is diber. Yeah. So we got to pay attention to how we're pronouncing these things. In Genesis 17:22, we get the Dalet doesn't have it again, and we could keep going on and on with this. Let's have a look at two-letter lookup. I find that to be a helpful way to check on whatever I'm looking at as well. A quick way to do that. So we got Dalef Beit Resh typed in there, and boom, you see it. The lexical form Davar. And you can see this has to do with speech, word. Now, one of the interesting things is that Davar as a noun has a wide range of things. It can be just like thing. Right, so it can mean a word, a matter, or just a thing. So sometimes when you're translating Hebrew, you really got to use the context to pay attention to what's in view, like what's in the context that's being talked about. Is it being specific or general? So pay attention to that. If we click on these, the verbal form, again, you'll see it has a little bit of semantic room, like a little bit of semantic play. Can even mean to promise, to be spoken, to lead away, to put to flight. So that's kind of interesting. Speak, declare, converse, command, promise, warn. And the nominal form, it's got again, like, has to do with speech or word or something like that, an utterance. But so it's like narrow in that sense. But as soon as you get out of like speech, word meaning, man, it can mean a lot of things depending on the context. And you see that here. An act, advice, affair, a book, a business, care. So much the translations of in English of this specific word, davar, are wide ranging. So you got to use context to help figure that out. Yep, so that is our Hebrew reflection for now, davar, however you want to say that, depending on whether the dagashem are present or not. And so I don't really have a mnemonic device other than to make a corny joke and say you won't get davar in Hebrew if you don't learn davar. You won't get that far, davar, and anyways, bad wordplay. So davar just means a word, a thing, or in the verb form to speak, to speak or to say something, right? So, all right, that's it for now with this episode of Growcabulary. I truly hope that helps.
Interested in growing your ancient language skills but not sure where to start? Glossa House can help. From illustrated readers and short stories to lexicons and grammars, Glossa House offers a variety of resources for beginning, intermediate, and experienced ancient language learners. Head to glossahouse.com today. Glossa House, language resources for the global community.